Good morning everybody, and once again welcome back to the video. In this video we are going to talk about Hudi's best practices handling failed insert slash upsert with Hudi error tables. So let's get started. So let's say when you're reading data either from S3 or Dynamo or any sort of database or some sort of a queue, for example Kafka or Kinesis, and you're basically inserting that data into your transactional data lake, right? Now let's say you have some sort of a rule defined, like for example, let's say assuming, right, let's say there's a field called message. Anytime that is null, you don't want to commit that particular record into the Hudi table. Or let's assume while committing some data, something failed, and you want to basically move all those failed items or records into a Hudi error table. Why? Well, the reason you want to do that is A, later on you will have visibility how many records failed, at what time it failed, and what are those records, right? Then, if needed, you could incrementally iterate over your error tables and perform a backfill on your stage or main table. So let's learn more about this. So I also have written an article, so if needed, you can go over the steps as well, but we are gonna perform this lab right now. So let's get started with the lab exercise. So the first step is you need to download the jar file, and the link shall be given in the description. So you can go to the Google Drive and simply download the jar file. Now let's take a deeper dive into the code base and understand the use case. So sharing my screen, and now we're gonna dive deep into the code. All right, so on a high level, we have two functions, that is upsert Hudi tables and print Hudi tables, okay? Let's see what we are doing here, okay? So I'm gonna try my best to zoom in. Let me adjust my screen over here. Give me one sec. All right. So over here, I'm specifying the jar file, Hudi Spark bundle 3.3. Again, if you're using different version of Spark, make sure to select the right jar file. After that, what I'm doing here is I'm creating a Spark session on line 85 to 89. Very straightforward, nothing difficult over here, right? Here I'm defining a database name and a table name, right? Now here is a use case. I am using Apache Hudi pre-commit validator, meaning when I'm upserting my data into my data lake, the business has said that, hey, there's a column called message and it cannot be null. It's a business, let's say, it simply cannot be null, right? So I'm using a pre-commit validator to validate that, okay? So let me show you. So over here, as you can see, we are creating a Spark data frame. So here you can see we are creating a Spark data frame. This data frame has following fields, that is UUID, message, precom, and partition. And then I have a method that I'm calling, and I'm performing an upsert on the Hudi table, where I'm passing the database name, the table name, the record ID, the precom key, which is used for dedupe purposes, the Spark data frame, the table type as copy and write, the index is bloom, method as upsert, use validator is a flag that I'm setting that to true, and here you can see I am passing the validator query. Select count everything from table name where message is null. So basically what this is going to do is basically if in the data frame, if the message is null, right, if it is null, it's going to try to validate and it's going to fail. So I'm using a pre-commit validator. So for the first batch, what's going to happen is the data is going to go through because there are no null object. But in the second batch, I purposely have that particular column as null. So let's see. In the second data frame, as you can see, I do have a none over here, and I'm creating a Spark data frame. And again, I'm calling the upsert Hudi table. Now, what's going to happen is the pre-commit validator will validate, right, whether the message is null or not, right? And it's going to find now that, hey, there is a none. Now, what's going to happen? It's going to raise an exception. Now, once it raises an exception, what I have done is in the exception part is I'm simply now performing insert, moving those records into the error table. So let me show you that. Of course, you can customize this based on your use case. So if you can come here, and if you can see the exception on line 52. So here you can see error table name, error underscore table name. So meaning whatever table name you have given, it's simply going to append the word error underscore, right? This is the path to the Hudi data lake. These are some of the very basic config. Error ID, and the right operation is going to be insert. Now what you will see here is I am appending a column called error ID. Again, it's a GUID, right? And basically now whatever record has failed, I'm gonna simply insert them into error table. So here you can see I'm basically inserting that into the error Hudi table. Now, what's going to happen is, see, these particular records that go into the error table. Now you can inspect later on and see how many records failed, how many records didn't make through the data lake. Then you can incrementally iterate over this error table and they perform your backfilling operation, right? So now what we're going to do, we are going to run the job as you can see, and then later on all I'm doing is I'm printing it. So I'm printing the original table and I'm also printing the error table. So what I expect is I should see record 1 and 2 in the original table, and record 3 and 4 should be there in the error table since it has failed, right? So we will run that now. So I'm gonna right click on this and simply click on run. And I'm gonna resume the video once this is complete. So the job is complete, and now let me show you the output, okay? So going back to the console. So here you can see, right, record number 1 and 2, the message field is not none. So this will basically make into the transactional data lake. Now let's go down. Let me see that here. So observe this particular batch. I purposely made the messages null. So this batch, raised an exception, as you can see. Now in the exception part, as I said, right, I will be inserting that into the Hudi error table. So now let's go down. So here you can see my regular table, which is neat and clean. It has record number 1 and record number 2. Now on the bottom section, we have the error table, as you can see, reading from the error underscore events. Let's scroll on the right. And here you can see the record that essentially failed went into the error table. You see, now you have more visibility. Now anything failed will be moved into the error table. Now you can read the error table. You can figure out, okay, why it failed, what happened exactly. And now if needed, you can, incrementally iterate over this and perform backfilling operations, right? So quickly again showing you this over here. So here you can see Hudi DB. There are 2 folders, events and error underscore events. If I open this particular one, hopefully if I can open up, as you can see, record 1 and 2. And if I open up the error underscore events, here is a Parquet file. And if I can scroll here you can see that item that essentially had null made it into the error table. So I'm hoping you guys have enjoyed the video and you have learned something new, right? And if you have any more questions, do list your question in the comment section below. What you can also do is basically you can create a decorator. Decorator is a design pattern. You can simply wrap the upsert function with a decorator functionality, meaning anytime anything failed, automatically the decorator will perform an upsert or insert into the error table. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have enjoyed. If you have any further questions, do let me know. Until then, keep smiling, keep programming, and I'm gonna see you in the next video.